I'm Francesca Johnson with the R Board. We're here to learn about troubleshooting your compost pile. Here's Jonathan Stevens, Master Gardener, with some tips.
The easiest way to keep pests out is to put up a barrier to them. In my little compost bins, I get moles and voles digging in from underneath, and I use hardware cloth along the bottom of my compost bins. Hardware cloth is galvanized welded wire in a grid, and so that's an easy way to keep them from getting at the compost. You may need to put a cover on your compost bin, a wire cover or a chicken wire, or even hardware cloth over the top of it to keep creatures from crawling in there, because it's good stuff you're putting in there. It's a tasty buffet for certain types of animals. So just understand that. But once it composts, they'll no longer be interested. Well, they might be interested in the worms that would come and the other creatures that would arrive just to enjoy the feast that you've created for them. When the compost pile smells, it is highly likely that it is because you have the wrong kind of process happening in there due to too much moisture and not enough air getting at it. The main reason, I'd say, for that kind of smell would be that you're out of balance. You have too much in the way of greens that can get wet and sticky and clump up and keep the air out, and not enough of the browns that would allow more air to get in. You want to maintain a mix of greens and browns. 50-50 is ideal. It can be as little as 1/3 greens to 2/3 browns even. So if in doubt, overdo it on the browns. The chopped leaves, straw, torn up cardboard, and that sort of thing. And that'll solve the problem of the smell. When a compost pile seems to not be decomposing, it's probably because it's out of kilter, and it may not have enough greens in it to really charge it up and get it going. It may be that what you really have is a leaf pile with a few containers of coffee grounds and so forth in there. And those coffee grounds in that leaf pile are great, but that's not going to provide the 50-50 mix that would be ideal to get the compost to work. If you have that mix of 50-50 greens and browns, just wait another week and make sure it stays damp and aerated so that you have greens and browns, air and water all together in the mix, and I guarantee you that'll work. That is age-old. It is a natural process that has caused this earth to be as green as it is. The compost pile can be ready to use once it's fully loaded with stuff. I would say it depends on the size of your particles in there. I'm interested in speed compost, so I chop everything up at my kitchen counter so that they have a running start. So if you have a compost bin made of fine grains of material, green and brown, why, that can be ready in a couple, 3 months if you turn it, say, every week or two. In other words, that's very aggressive hot compost. Slow compost can take a couple of years if you have whole banana peels and whole apple cores and whole grapefruit rinds and so forth. Those kinds of bulky items can take years before they really decompose if they're not aided in the process by being chopped up. So it can take any number of months, and I would say, basically, depending on your method of creating your compost, just be a little patient and let it work.